Alright, let's go over the Uril the Miststalker deck. I've been putting this together for a while. I got some ideas from the Manosaurs, had a video over their deck they put together. There's another one on CMDR decks. Went to MTG Salvation, scoured some lists there. Then I just, add some cards that I could find, whatnot. So anyway, let's just go through the list. Of course, it's got the general. It's Naya in 2, so 5 mana for a 5/5 that's hexproof. That's the old wording for hexproof. And he gets +2/+2 for each aura attached to it. So of course he's a Voltron commander just from the word go. And he's really hard to deal with. So a lot of my friends really hate this deck because I get him going pretty fast, I guess. And usually I've actually knocked out multiple opponents in one turn. If you can ever, I'll say one turn. I'll take that back. Over like really fast. Usually can get him in 2 turns. So out of nowhere, kind of. I actually took out the take extra combat step cards, so they really didn't like that. But I don't know. I guess if I found a good aggravated assault, I'd probably put it back in. But anyway, so he's a beast, which is kind of relevant. I'll show you later why. On the mana base, let me see. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 forests, 2 mountains, and 2 plains. Pretty light on the basics because I don't have a lot of red in the deck, but there's a lot of double green, double white, and then the red occasionally. So did a lot of dual lands. Command tower. Just picked this up. Really like the art. But if I ever have this in my opener, it's almost a snap keep. Just the fixing from this is just great. Jungle Shrine, same goes for it. Coming to play tap's not a big deal if I have it in the opener because I don't do a whole lot in the first couple turns. But City of Brass usually doesn't do too much damage to me because, like I said, whenever I do finally start doing damage, it doesn't take long with commander damage, only having to deal 21. Opal Palace, sadly, there's no foil for this yet, so I'm looking forward to that. But even just getting the +1/+1 counter on him, whenever you cast him the second time, usually I don't do it the first time, but the second time, making him a 6/6 is pretty relevant. That extra power and just sometimes cut your combat steps down by 1. And I do luckily have all the dual lands for this deck. I got Savannah, a Taiga, and a Plateau. The Taiga and the Plateau being mountains is very relevant, and I'll show you why soon enough. Stomping Ground, Temple of Abandon, Rootbound Crag, and a Raging Ravine for our green-red lands. Oh, sorry, forgot about the Guild Gate. The new Gain a Life land is just a little bit better, but I already had this, and flavor-wise, it's pretty good. I like the Guild Gates. As far as green-white lands, we have Temple Garden, Temple of Plenty, Sun Petal Grove, and Selesnya Guild Gate. For the red-white, see if I can get these back into view. For red-white, I have Temple of Triumph, Clifftop Retreat, and that's really all for that. I don't even have a Sacred Foundry in here, but like I said, it's pretty light on the red. So, Sarah's Sanctum, this card sometimes taps for ridiculous amounts of mana. It's not like Guy's Cradle big, but like I tap for 5 or 6 regular. It's all white, but that's just fine. Having it in your opener is kind of sad because you can't really. It's kind of like having Temple of the False God in your opener. You can't count it as a land for usually the first couple of turns. It just is a land drop. So some other utility lands. We have a Treetop Village. Does tap for green, and having the 3/3 creature does help out sometimes. The trample's pretty big. Only run the 1 fetch. Could run a couple more, but just have the Arid Mace in here right now. Probably put a Wooded Foothills in here as soon as I open a Cons one. I kind of moved most of them. I only have one of the Onslaught ones that's in my cube. So I do like to fetch up basics. This really helps fix mana, the Evolving Wilds, and the Terramorphic Expanse. I talked about earlier, Temple of the False God. Having 1 land for 2 mana is pretty helpful. Kessig Wolfrun, I have this actually is responsible for a good number of my wins with my commander sometimes. And this was a lot of fun. Contested Cliffs. Like I said, Uril is a beast, and so I choose target beast I control and target creature an opponent controls, and they fight. and most of the time Uril's going to win a fight, even if they have some kind of pump spell. They obviously can't remove him, so he can just be a removal like every turn until I got clear of the way. So Scar the Rage Pits, another land that gives him trample and can boost him for only 2 mana, 3 lands counting tapping this one. So it's not scalable like Wolf Run, but it works in a pinch. Slayer's Stronghold, now this one's great, mostly for the vigilance. The haste is okay. I have gotten him out hasty like on turn, I guess be turn 7 with a little ramp, and be able to swing with him. Hasty with vigilance, so you still have him back on defense if that's a thing. Tech Edge, I don't have like the full-on land destruction suite like the Wasteland, Strip Mine, and all that. Just have the one here. Get rid of the troublesome lands. Soul Ring is, I believe, the lone artifact right now. I've pulled most of the other ones out just for making room for different enchantments and whatnot. I do need some removal to clear the way, and Source of Plowshares, you don't care about their life total because you're going to win with commander damage, and they can bet 100 life, but if they take 21, you still win. Path to Exile, a lot of the guys I play against might not even have any basics left to fetch if they have more than 1 or 2 out. They run 3 and 5 color decks a lot, so they have very few basics in their deck. So sometimes that drawback of Path they don't even get the benefit from. Selesnya Charm is good removal. There's especially I use it most often on Avacyn. One of the players in my group, he'll slam Avacyn and just kind of assumes he's safe, and during the end step I'll exile Avacyn and then wipe the board. So also just giving Uril trample and +2/+2 gets him through a lot of times. The token, I don't think I've ever cast it for the token. Boros Charm, double strike on a big Voltron commander is awesome. Making things indestructible is also great. The 4 damage to the face doesn't really happen in this format, but the double strike and indestructible both get used a lot. Eladamri's Call. This is great because I have a lot of the bestow creatures, so it's both a creature tutor, in case Uril gets tucked or something, or if I'm just looking for a certain keyword ability. If I want to search up a bestow guy with vigilance or lifelink or trample, this will help me do it. And it's just 2 mana, instant speed, really good. Croson Grip. There's usually some kind of target you want to get rid of with this card. It's just in the split second. Gets around all the pesky blue mages. I say that being a blue mage normally, but this is my kind of ace in the hole against some of their shenanigans sometimes. Cultivate, really strong card. The ramp is great, but just the fixing is why I really like it. This is a weird one for most people, but Krufex's Insight, reveal the top 6 cards, put 3 enchantments into your hand. A lot of times I reveal more than 3 enchantments, I have to pick, and the rest go in the graveyard, which is fine for later because I have some graveyard recursion. But yeah, this is basically a draw 3 mana draw 3, and it selects them, so it's pretty. I don't think I've ever whiffed on it. I've only gotten 2 one time, but most of the time I get 3 or more where I have to put some in the bin. Idyllic Tutor. Can search up creatures, like I said, because I have a lot of the enchantment creatures, or just, some of the removal enchantments like Chain of the Rocks, stuff like that, or just the ones that make Uril really big. Replenish, like I said, usually 1 board wipe won't get me because I can occasionally just replenish and get all my enchantments back. If they're, auras, I can attach them to Uril if he's in play. So you can really win out of nowhere with just 4 mana. Really strong. Winds of Wrath is really funny. 5 mana, wipe the board. Oh, except for my guy who's got 3 enchantments on him. So not a lot of commander decks for enchantments, but this is the Wrath that you definitely want with Uril. 3 Dreams. I have cast it recently. Usually go get, like either like something with trample and lifelinks and 2 cheap, like a cheap one and then a removal aura. So it's a very versatile card. It's 5 mana, but in this deck it's not that bad. Another really funny card, ends the game rather quickly. I don't use it. Usually I just do the armed part. Occasionally if I have another like mana dork out, I'll make them block him, so Uril comes in, unblocked. With +1/+1 double strike, he'll usually kill in 1 turn if you get to connect for the whole amount. One of the last sorceries, got Bonfire of the Damned. One of the few board wipes that I have. Of course, I don't run all the white wraths, just the one, the Winds of Wrath. So this one's really cool. I like top decking it too. It's a lot of fun. You have to pick a target player, which is not as good as some of the all opponent cards that are out there now. But this one's it's just really good. Genesis Wave. I have I don't Genesis Wave a lot in this deck, but if you can do it for 7 or 8, you're usually getting something you want. Chain the Rocks, like I said, probably some of my best removal for especially for the indestructible creatures, something like that. I do have a few mountains, the dual lands that are mountains, and the 2 basic ones. So it's usually not that. You usually don't have to worry about not having a mountain to put it on. This card is overpowered. In this deck, this card is an all-star, 1 mana, sometimes give you as much as plus 7 or 8 and first strike. Just really strong with Uril. Spider Umbra, I run a couple of the Umbras, helps keep him from getting board wiped. If you have one of these on him, pretty much if they don't remove the aura first, they have to have like a Terminus or Hallowed Burial to tuck everything. Rancor, one of the stronger ones you can get for just 1 mana. It actually pumps Uril +4/+2, so and giving them trample is great and be able to get it back even if they wrath the board. Card advantage, kind of, because you get it back. Mana Bloom, every time I think about cutting this, then I'll have like one of the enchantresses in play and cast it for 0 and then keep casting it for X is 0 every turn and draw more cards. And then it does fix your mana sometimes. You cast it for 2 or 3 and get to use it for mana fixing for a couple turns. Spirit Mantle, protection from creatures, they can't block, all the better. Flicker Form, I haven't got to activate this yet. Sometimes it's just +2/+2, as an enchantment. I haven't got to activate this where I get to blink him out and bring him back in with all enchantments in case they try and wrath the board. But looking forward to doing that. Fires of Yavimaya is kind of good in this deck because play ahead of Uril and then he has haste and you can make him bigger and yada yada, and just having the enchantments matter in this deck, so just having one lying around is good. Dueling Grounds keeps you from getting like alpha striked a lot because they can't swing with their whole team, just their biggest guy, and only be able to block with 1 creature. Most 1 creature can't stand up to Uril in a fight if he's got 1 or even 2 enchantments on him. So. Armadillo Cloak. This is one of my first targets for enchantment tutors because it gives you 2 things you want: trample and lifelink, or basically lifelink, and it's +4/+4 on Uril, so pretty strong. And of course, Unflinching Courage is functionally the same card. Shield of the Oversoul. The flying is great. The indestructible is a little bit better actually. And for 3 mana, it's once again +2/+2, but you get the 2, so it's +4/+4 and 2 good keywords. Gift of Immortality. I haven't ran this a lot, but making it almost impossible to get rid of Uril when you put this on him. It's pretty good. Faith's Fetters. Put this on Planeswalkers. I've actually, one of my friends runs Thassa, and I put it on her sometimes just so I can't make things unblockable. So, and the Gain of 4 Life is not great in this format, of course, but it's a good card. Holy Mantle is pretty much Spirit Mantle with an extra power and toughness, but it does cost 2 more. But hey, it's a great card. Pro creatures, getting him into swing, the game ends really fast. Bear Umbra. I don't have the real sick combo cards with this, but being able to, when you attack, untapping all your lands, it makes you just be able to tap out pre-combat to pump him up as much as you can, and then you can hold up mana for different things later on. Privileged Position. This one's good because they have to get rid of this before they can get rid of your enchantments, either if you have any on him or just your just regular board enchantments. I just like having the extra backup, and like I said, enchantments matter, so just getting to play it. Sometimes you draw a card that pumps your Sierra Sanctum, pumps your Ethereal Armor. Really great. Assemble the Legion. Love this card. I've won games without even casting Uril just because I played this on turn 5. And if they don't remove it, eventually you have a bunch of 1/1s crashing in there. And if you can make them bigger, like with say Mirari's Wake, they're 2/2s or whatnot. So this, of course, gives you all the mana you usually want, and making your creatures a little bit bigger, Uril included, or even your mana dorks, make them worth something later on in the game. This is a engine all on its own, Citadel Empty Throne, making flying 4/4s. A lot of times they're just blockers to hold off till I can kill them with Uril, like if it's a real big life gain deck. But they are very useful. So I can get 2 or 3 angels a turn sometimes. Okay, on to the creatures. Bird's Paradise just fixes my mana, ramps me a little bit. And if they want to use a removal spell on it, that's fine. And it's shiny and it's Japanese, so the buy box. Avacyn's Pilgrim, I have green mana, now I have white. Good stuff. Hero of Iroas, I haven't got the bonus from him. You know, the getting all my auras wouldn't last a whole lot, but he does help out sometimes. Aegis of the Gods, having hexproof because I can't get around a lot of discard, things like that, or sacrifice effects. If they can't target me to make me sacrifice something, all the better. Heliod's Pilgrim, sweet card. Like I said, you can search for an aura card. Now this does not count to bestow creatures, the best I know, but you know, being able to go get your Unflinching Courage, Rancor, those things for just 3 mana, and it leaves behind a little body, but it's a really strong card out of M15. Really glad when they printed it. Oh, sorry, get out of the frame again. Mason Enchantress, one of the couple Enchantress type cards I have where you get to draw cards for every enchantment you play. Pretty good. Of course, not going to do any battle being an O2, but pretty strong card. You have my Enchantress. This one's a little different. It does battle because it gets +1/+1 for each enchantment in play. Sometimes it's an 8/8, a 9/9. If you put like a trampling thing on it, it gets even bigger. And I have won games with it before. So even if like they tuck Uril, this is almost a secondary win condition. Eternal Witness, being able to get back the things that gets killed or bend, is pretty strong. Sometimes it gets back your Path to Exile, which you just have to have. Okay, so Witchstalker is a pretty good threat for just 3 mana. Being hexproof, you can pile the enchantments on it just as well as Uril. It's hard to do the whole 40 damage with him, but say if you got in a swing with Uril early but didn't get to finish off the 21 damage, say he gets tucked or something, or he's just too expensive to recast, you can hit him with Witchstalker for the last few points of damage. Also, it does kind of hose, you know, your blue and black opponents from countering your things, or you know, even casting draw spells on your turn. So, pretty strong card. Oracle will die. I'm going to put this in pretty much every green EDH deck I ever make because the card's just too good. The extra land drop, playing with the top card reveal, being able to play it if it's a land, and it's an elf, and I like shiny elves. So, Eidolon of Blossoms, one of the newest Enchantress cards where you draw cards for enchantments, including this one, which is pretty good. It's more than the Mason Enchantress and the ones like that, but it does trigger itself, so that's good. Johnny's Chosen, another kind of army in a can. They kind of got to deal with this if you have it all by itself, just playing enchantments, getting the extra cats and the ores pumping them up. So you even get a cat. Like say if you cast Faith's Fetters on your opponent's item, you get a cat for that. So you can make an army of cats pretty quick. Heliod, God of the Sun, being able to pop out enchantments, sometimes drawing you cards, sometimes making your ethereal armor bigger, making your Sarah Sanctum better, and giving all your other creatures vigilance. You know, giving your vigilance all the time is great. And sometimes he's just randomly a 5/6 that you can, you know, beat down with. Onto the bestow creatures. Hope Eidolon, it's just cheap. It's only 4 mana. Getting the lifelink is great. Can save you if you get down low. Also, just the pump. I mean, just this guy on Uril makes him an 8/8 with lifelink, so that's pretty good. Even if you're not just beating for 8, that's pretty good stuff. Eidolon of Countless Battles, he gets crazy. Sometimes even if you just play him as a creature, just having a couple other creatures and a few other ores on the field, he can get really big. But getting bestowing for 4 is pretty good. Sigarda. Could be a general. I've actually thought about, people get tired of me beating with Uril, I'm just going to cut the few red cards and just play Sigarda as my general. Making it where you don't have to sack things is just another bit of protection for your general. Not, you know, being the hexproof. And the flying 5/5 is pretty strong anyway. I know there are a lot of good Sigarda builds out there, so I might try one of those out if I do get tired of playing Uril. Acidic Slime. Another card I think goes in just about every green EDH deck. just the versatility of land, artifact, or enchantment. Sometimes like I said, if you have something new like Courser Crewfix, you can get a creature with it if it's one of those types as well. But usually, I'm blowing up a troublesome utility land or an artifact like a sword if it's a pro green sword, or War and Peace is just not fun. So, very good card. I suggest you put it in just about any green EDH deck. Boom Satyr. Like I said, I've got him in the 5 casting cost. I'm counting as a bestow creature, although sometimes you can just flash him in to eat somebody else's general on turn 3, and just even if he goes to the bin, he did his job. He's like a 3-mana removal spell. It's one of the newer editions, the Observant All-Seed. The Bestow is a little high, 5, but he's Vigilance, and I find Vigilance needing it. Trample and then Vigilance are my 2 most needed keyword abilities to give Uril, because a lot of times he's big enough to start doing a bunch of damage, but then you might die on the crackback for your life if you got 2 players kind of ganging up on you. But if he has Vigilance, like, nobody wants to come at him, because they're just it's gonna abyss them. They're gonna know that he's gonna eat a creature just about every time. Sun Titan, being able to bring back some of the smaller enchantments, or sometimes fetch land to get you more lands out. He's always good. Having Vigilance himself, just being a 6/6, you never sad casting the Titan. Ghostblade Eidolon bestows for 6, gives double strike, which is just really strong when you're talking about commander damage. He can go from taking 3 turns to kill. You play this, it only takes 1 from the pump and the double strike. So they can't really ever let their guard down with this deck. Nowadays, Emissary is one I tutor for quite often because it's a huge pump. A lot of times if I've played Uril on 5, I've got 6 mana to bestow, and given the trample means that they just can't chump block him. He's going to kill them very quickly if they do not just get him off the board. Silent Sentinel, being able to bring the enchantment back from the graveyard to the battlefield. Sometimes it's a board enchantment, sometimes it's an aura, and it's a flying 4/6. Who doesn't like flying 4/6s? Luminant Primordial is more, white removal, being able to get somebody for each opponent if you play multiplayer. Them gaining the life, like I said, usually doesn't matter because you're doing commander damage. The 4/7 is tough to get through against most creatures. Elmer, as he's called, unlimited resources. Heliod's Emissary, being able to tap stuff down, and the big power and toughness boost for the 7 bestow. Pretty good card. Not as much as Nile is, but I like him a lot. And Celestial Archon, the most expensive, one of the most expensive with the 7 bestow cost. But given it the flying is the super evasion, and winds up being +6/+6. So he's an 11/11 flying first striking beast, and they're dead in 2 turns. So, anyway, so that's the deck. Like I said, it can be kind of oppressive in ways because he's hard to deal with, but a lot of decks run Wraths. That's why, unless you have a totem or something that gives him indestructible, he can be dealt with, but they usually got to kill him twice. I can usually cast him twice a game without too much trouble, but he's a lot of fun. I liked Hexproof, but I didn't want to build Geist of St. Traff for some reason. I've got a lot of blue decks, and I just happened to pick up a full Uril and a full Sigarda from the same guy off eBay. So I was like, hey, let's build this deck, and see if we can have fun and cause our opponents to have none of the fun. So, if you've got any suggestions, I've cut some things like Eldrazi Conscription, which is a great card, but it's kind of a win more card. But if you have any cool ideas for the deck, please let me know. If you just think it's a really bad deck to play, most people probably agree with you, but that's kind of how it is in my my local EDH environment. You gotta kind of have a deck with teeth, or you just get run over. But I hope you like the deck, and I'll try and bring more deck tech soon. Thanks for watching.